Welcome to No Perspective, the show from the people, for the people. I'm Rude Diamond.
John, Jonathan, Schmitty, Rock, no matter what you call me, as long as you're listening.
I'm K Love. I want to welcome everybody to the channel.
All right. Today's show is going to be about the divisive nature in our communities, the urge to impose our dominance on one another for minor infractions, and also the natural and the nature of our division and what's the root cause of it. So my initial question for you guys is, not now because we're older and we learned a lot, but as a youth, living in a small town, what do you feel like was the root reason for our division and the nature that we had to be divided just in such a small town?
Okay, I'm gonna go first. First of all, I want to give a little history about our area. My grandfather was a realtor, right? So growing up, I asked him why so many different areas was moving to Willingboro and to this suburb, black suburban area. And his answer was that in the ads, Willingboro put different ads from different parks in different cities. So like Garfield and North and Hawthorne, they put their ads in North Jersey. Somerset, Pennypacker, and Buckingham, they put the ads for their homes in Trenton and Camden. Millbrook and so forth and so on. It's 15 different parks, but they would separate the parks and send their ads. Like if you go into an Acme or a store and it has the homes, they would put the ads for those homes in different cities. So over the years, it pulled people from Philly, Camden, Trenton, North Jersey, New York, all over these different cities that's close to us, all into one town. So that's the history of what happened to Willingboro from the transition from when it was first built in 1950, whatever, to now. So that's why I guess maybe the name Willing, it was willing to take on this experiment, so to speak. And I feel like it's turned out well for a lot of us. The answer to the question, I feel, is it's a guy thing, first and foremost. That is bigger than a black thing, it's bigger than a white thing. Men are, they have a pecking order. We have a pecking order. Big fish eat little fish, and it's broken down into the territorial nature. Now, all areas have this. Only reason why I feel like it's become detrimental and more dangerous for our community is because we have a high volume of guns in our community. And we also have the cultural nature in our music and in how we do things we value life very at a cheap level. You know, life is cheap to us. So growing up, it was broke down into different parks. And it was passed down from generation to generation that, look, from my old heads, look, we beef with this park and so forth and so on. And we not cool with these dudes. We cool with this area, but we not cool with that area. And it's not just a Willingboro thing. It's a Camden thing. We got family in Philly. We got family all over that say, look, park, different sections don't mess with this section. So I feel like it's not just our area. It was something that was inherited through the time and through different areas, which is all over. Even if you go to California, you got South Central, don't mess with Compton, or up the hill, like in Jersey City, it's up the hill, down the hill. So I feel like it's more of a guy thing to where we're territorial by nature. So over the years, we've started these irrelevant beefs with different areas that really just gave us something to do.
With me, and I had a story when we was talking me and Rue was talking in the car, and it was like, in high school, like when we were younger, Rue and them used to beef with, maybe, certain people in other sections of Willingboro, and we were a little too young, like, to be involved in that. We would just hear about the stories. We would just, maybe laugh about it, because 9 times out of 10, Rue and them was coming on top. So when I got to high school, I didn't go to high school with you guys, but I was just telling him, like, it was like by nature, oh, Jonathan don't mess with such and such. Well, I don't like him either. That's just how, it's like a code, unwritten rule that, if my friend or my family, they don't like a certain group of people, I can't like them either. Mm-hmm. So as we got older, I tend to, kind of live by that same code, again, because I had a little situation. I'm going to tell a little story. I had a guy that did something to betray me, and this is recently, and it had nothing to do with Jonathan. It had nothing at all to do with him. So I called him and told him. So without me even saying anything, Jonathan said something to the guy like, "Yo, what's up with you? Like, you did some weird shit, bro. Like, what's going on?" And now it tends to make Jonathan not really like that guy either. Not saying like he's going to do something to him or really dislike him.
You're
but
speaking about loyalty.
just loyalty. It's just like, if I have a problem with that guy and he really did something that makes sense, then
He just said something that was perfect. It has to make sense. Just straight like that. It has to make sense. He said it made sense. I'm not going to say the full story, but somebody like low-key violated his little sister. That's my sister. So that made sense. Now, if Kenny was doing something goofy and had a problem with somebody, would have came and told me, go ahead, what's up, Kay? I'm not.
That's
I'm
what
not,
we was talking
that's
about.
What that's the growth in me now. Now, what he's talking about is we didn't care about reasoning back then.
Right.
But one thing he said real quick, I got to touch on this. You said he used to win all the time. Yo, one time, right? I got to tell this story because this story is like, to me, it was funny. Rue got into something. He's rumbling, whatever. You mean, and like he's rumbling a lot of people. So he's not supposed to win, but he was winning. So something happened to him. And then we lived around the corner from where he was rumbling. So it's summertime. Back in the day, we ain't have no air conditioning. We used to leave the drone, and we had dogs, so they scratched the screen out. So basically, the window is wide open. So me and all of my friends is just sitting in the room talking, doing whatever. Ryan just dove through the window. He just dove through the window and was like, nah. And I'm like, yo, what the? He lives here. He could go through the front door, yo. Like, but he decided to dive through my window, my back, and like his whole back was just red, like somebody hit him in the back with a bat, and he just like my back, and he just laid there. And we had to nurse him back to health, but yo, it was so funny. He literally dove through my window, yo. Like, you live here.
I think I heard about this.
You could go through the front. I never asked you that. Why you ain't go through the front door?
Because for one, it was late. I didn't want, because what had happened was crazy, and I didn't want mommy to know. You know what I'm saying? So I had to try to come through the back. But that story is a whole another crazy story. Actually, loyalty didn't fall through on this story because people had ran on me.
So let me go, right. Let me just run it down. When I was younger, we had principles that we lived by. So loyalty was one of the biggest principles, but we weren't taught the actual code of that loyalty and what loyalty means. It's actually reversed too. Okay, I'm loyal to you, but your loyalty to me is supposed to also not bring me into something that's not serious enough for me to get involved and jeopardize me, my life, my freedom, my time. You mean, like, all of that. So you supposed to, so say if you do something, one rule that we always had, matter of fact, stop, I'm gonna go back. Me and my friends, we fought a group of guys throughout high school, like literally probably like once, maybe every 2 months. We rumbling. All right, and then that's just what it was. They weren't backing down. I wasn't backing. We rumbling all the time. We see each other. We rumble. All right. Now me, when I grew up with these guys, they used to make me fight almost every day. So I didn't necessarily look at fighting as hatred. I looked at it more like earning respect.
Right.
Like, that's what it was. So like that was something that maybe I misunderstood, because people think that if I punch you, I hate you. No, I'm just trying to show you, bro, you have to respect me. Right. And give me, and I want you, I'm going to respect you also. So a lot of the times that I fought people don't notice. I actually fighting somebody, I earn respect for them. Yo, yeah, but he dug in. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Like I like him. Yeah. I actually said that to somebody in their face. Like, I like you. You doing your thing. So we rumbled them all throughout high school, and I didn't know what the initial reason we were fighting for. I had no idea. I was fighting because my friends was rumbling. What's up? All right. Now the problem with that is later on in life, I asked a few questions. Like, yo, like, why? How did that all start? My friend told me, my friend who it started over, he told me it started because one of those guys over there hated on him with a girl, and then he didn't end up getting a girl. Absolutely goes against my core principles. We don't fight over women. If you have a beef with a man over a woman, you fight that man individually. If you don't want to fight individually, then you just lost. It doesn't have anything to do with me. That's not, this is not a reason that I fight for someone. Simple and plain. So like, I backtrack and I'm looking like, yo, I was fighting all of this time over a girl. And like, and you didn't want to help.
I need you to further explain fighting over a girl, because I have a situation where, you know what I mean, it may be valid.
I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting for. Listen, I'm not fighting for a man hating on you.
Right.
I'm not fighting for another man having sex with you. That still doesn't have any. As a man, these are like things that you have to deal with individually. It has nothing to do with me. Now, if somebody beats your sister up, that's not fighting over a girl. You understand what I'm saying?
That's loyalty to family.
That's family.
I wanted them to have that understanding.
That's not fighting over a girl.
About.
I'm talking about, relationship stuff. Relationship stuff has nothing to do with me or my people or my family, because people didn't realize when I fought, this guy's coming. So now I'm not only jeopardizing myself, and Ruiv never asked me like, yo, why y'all rumbling? He like, what's up? And because that's the nature that we have, because he trusts me not to be fighting for any ridiculous reason. So that's the part where he like trust. You got to trust the people you with, because some people will have you doing some stuff that goes against your core principles. So what I learned to start doing when I got older, I'm asking you, what happened? What happened?
Yo, he tried to holler at my baby mom. No.
Yeah.
No.
Now, if you want me to go with you so they don't jump you, okay. But I'm not fighting. And I'll tell them over there. I'm just here because so y'all don't jump him. He can fight by himself, because that's his business. That has nothing to do with me.
Right.
All right. So, and this is one thing that I wanted to say too. I want to tell the reason why why we stopped fighting those guys, because after I did it unconsciously, but after I did it, I felt like that's what's missing in like with a lot of people, and it's a pride thing. We got into a scenario, we go to a party, they came late, so we were already in there. You understand what I'm saying? So they went back outside. One of them came in like, what's up? Come outside. Because it was like a ritual. Like, but we were going to fight if we see each other. We come outside. They all at the car. Yo, they was on some real Braveheart shit. You know what I'm saying?
Heard up.
They was on some real Braveheart shit. They planned this. And I respected it.
And they knew we was going to be in there.
So they all sitting at the car. You know what I mean? And we come out. You know what I mean? And we just, what's up? And we just walked down there. We're like, what's good? Thinking that we about to rumble. I don't even know if they said a word, but I feel like they should have. You know what I'm saying? They should have screamed something, because of they said warrior, and all of these jumped out the car with bats and chains and shit. And I ran. I wasn't getting hit with a bat. We skated. But the thing that I feel like,
see me come through that window.
what I want other people to understand too, yeah, I saw you come down. I wasn't getting hit with a bat. I seen your Brew had a bruise the size of the bat, and it came down low.
Yo, my back, my back is still messed up from that,
he
bro.
hit, but you know how when you usually get hit with a bat, you get hit with one part. The whole bat was on his back.
Because he was swinging it at me, and I was dipping, but the thing was, I couldn't leave my friend.
He cut wood before.
My loyalty, he knew how to, My loyalty, it was kind of a double-edged sword. And I don't want to get too far off topic, but real quick, it was K-Dog, right? Mm-hmm. So, he ain't playing with a full deck, especially when it comes to fighting and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of us aren't. We have a brave heart. We don't really operate on fear. Like you said, we grew up fighting. We grew up iron sharp iron, slap boxing. Like John just said, he couldn't have said any better. So he decides, I'm not running. So he hops out. We outnumbered. 2 dudes that we with, 3 of them. One stayed and tried to fight, but then after the dudes hopped out with weapons, the other 2 ran right away because they knew it was over. Like, we wasn't going to win. We had weapons and stuff at the house, but he like, man, it's not even that serious. He didn't believe in these dudes. So my loyalty was like, run. I see him. He looking like, yo, we ain't running. My loyalty to him is like, all right, well, we ain't running then. You know what I'm saying? So we fighting with these niggas got all types of stuff. And that's how I ended up getting hit with the bat, because of my loyalty to somebody else. And it was loyalty that we had for somebody else. So it got passed down through a whole bunch of stuff.
I just want to finish the story real quick.
Go ahead.
Because this is something that a lot of people didn't know. Back then, we had guns.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We had guns.
When they pulled that stuff out on me, I had the gun on me. I'm not proud of it. To be honest, after this little era in my life, I ain't touch a gun since. This because one day K pulled the gun out like, yo, look at this. I said, get this shit away from me, yo. You know what I'm saying? This pussy, this is real shit. I was mad at K. I mean, and his friends. Them niggas was pulling out guns. These shits is fully loaded. One in the head. I said, stop listening to rap music. Yeah. I said, you ain't got no beef in this motherfucker that you need one in the head.
You know what I'm
saying? I said, K, unload the gun, man. And put the clip outside of if somebody come in here, you gonna have time to
Yeah.
like relax, yo. You mean he got one
Sound
K,
good.
if you K was on some real
Take
stuff.
the
He was,
armies.
he was listening to Beanie Siegel. Beanie Siegel fucked a lot of my friends' lives up, yo. I'm gonna leave that alone. But you mean so I had the joint on me. I pray to God. I was so happy that I was doing because all my friends, I got some friends that's a little dumber
Would've
than
shot
me,
'em, yeah.
and they would have probably did something. But I don't hate somebody enough to really take their life. Like that's not how I operate. I don't hate people enough. I don't think I've ever really hated someone enough to take their life. So therefore, like that's not what I was about. So we
Was
got
that before or after the time at the school when we had like golf clubs?
that was
and
after.
bats and shit?
After that wasn't us. That was I'm not even gonna say his name, but that was him because that's how he was, and it was all over him, and he lied to us, and I was mad at him. I told him that shit.
Yeah.
I told him that shit. That was corny that he had us doing some bullshit for nothing over
Right.
our girl. You crazy? I would never do that. So boom. So after all of that, basically we took the L.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You had us running. That's some pussy shit we ran. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but after that, I had a vision like, yo, like one of my mans is either they gonna force us to hurt them for real or they gonna have to hurt us. So I sucked my pride up and I called, and this is the one thing, we had all kinds of girls in common.
Yeah.
So like I knew
Normally
these
how
dudes,
it
and
is.
that's what I'm saying. Like I knew all of their girlfriends. So I liked them. Just real shit. Like I used to like these niggas, but I was still fighting them because that's just what we was doing. So I called one of the girls that they know, give me my man's phone number. I called the leader of they joint, and me and him had a real conversation. And what I explained to him, like, yo, listen, we don't have to like each other. I said, but I don't want nothing to happen to y'all, or I don't want nobody to be forced to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
The stuff
you lose-
already have up
one
until
thing
that
one
point.
thing people don't realize about war, and we could go into this war, right? There's principles in war, and a lot of the reasons that we out here making big mistakes is because we don't understand the principles and the strategies of war.
Right.
One strategy of war is you're supposed to communicate.
Yeah.
You're supposed to talk. You're supposed to have a conversation and see if this could be settled verbally before any physicality. And then why does people that understand war do that first? Because the cost of war is great, bro.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
That's a great point.
The cost of war is great. If we would have kept going, then somebody would hit me with a bat.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's stop it there. You hit me with a bat and I die. Now you have to go fight a case. Now I'm dead and now you're going to jail. Like, and now look how much time, and this is one thing that I put in here that I want to say. Like time, the time that we have is way more valuable than any ego or any urge for to get you back.
Revenge.
Or urge for revenge. Time that we have is way more important than ego and revenge. And that's something that we gotta start valuing time more. I know a whole lot of people that go to jail. I've never spoke to somebody that went to jail that didn't regret it.
Yeah.
That didn't say like, man, that shit wasn't that like.
Even when it was warranted.
Even when it was warranted, they still didn't. That time that they had to give away, that time that they had to give away wasn't worth what they did.
All right, let me jump in real quick. So you on a roll. Like those are some great points. You know what I mean? We just was talking about that. But I want to say that this is why we're coming to this point and we want to have this topic is because we want to get to that point to where we can reach the youth now. Because like you said, we're past that point. We realized that there's a lot of things. We want to get to the youth and explain to them some key things. The key thing is know the reason why you're getting into something. Know that you can trust the person that you're loyal to, that they're not going to get you into some dumb stuff. Don't be scared to ask the reason of what's going on, why. Like, and you said the art of war. The number one rule, the art of war, is know your enemy. So that's meaning you know what's going to happen to you if you take it there with them, the cost of it, and if it's even that serious. Sometimes your enemy, who you think is your enemy, it's not even that serious to even go there with them or even take it there to that point. Like you were saying, I wanted to jump in because you said, God forbid, just scenario, somebody gets hit in the head, they die, right? Now, look at now it's past the point of making anything peace. You see what I'm saying? Somebody just passed away from it. And this is what happens in our culture, in our neighborhood, is that people get shot and killed, and now we don't know how to forgive. Because for one, we're not educated. We're not into, the word or different types of, like, people have to go to therapy to grieve and learn how to forgive, go to church and different things like that. But when you're in that lifestyle, you don't know nothing about forgiveness. So somebody take your brother, take your man, take your friend, take your cousin, take your sister, anything like that, and they die. Now there's no more reconciliation with trying to fix it or get it before it goes too far. So when it comes to fighting, especially when it's issues of that are stupid issues, you need to catch it before it goes to that point to where there's no coming back. And that's one of the things that I can see. And I've been in a lot of different feuds and beefs, and there's too many to talk about. And most of them, all of them, were about nothing. And some of them, like I wanted to tell that story, some of them I didn't agree with, and I stayed neutral. Even at a young age, it was to the point to where, like, what? At first, yeah, we fought at first, and then I started to think, and that's why a lot of people might...
What story are you talking about?
The story when this is a beef that was, like you said, the beef that we had that's older than y'all. It was a beef, right? It's on some neighborhood beef, the question that you asked, like, why do we beef, like, divisive nature between neighborhoods? For one, it's a guy thing. Big fish eat little fish. We grow up in different elementary schools. We grow up in different areas, tough guy stuff. This is all guy stuff. I'm not totally against it. You know what I mean? I'm not totally against it. What I'm against is that in our culture, we take it too far. Just like he said, at a young age, my nephews and my little cousins is running around with guns on them. In these other areas, I talked to a lot of different cultures, you know what I'm saying? And they tell me, oh yeah, well, I'm from Philly, and you know, me being locked up in programs, different stuff. It's like, oh yeah, you know, the two streeters, we used to fight the kids up on 10th and Wolf, and we would get it in. And that's the end of the story. Yeah, one time we was fighting, and you know, I hit a guy and I laid him and he was knocked out. That's where their stories stop in their areas. Our stories go to bats, guns, knives. We go too far with it because we don't value life, because our culture in this society, in this world, taught us to not value our own lives. You see what I'm saying? So the story, back to the story, was that I'm from a certain area, but I had to go to elementary school in another area. So I got cool with all them dudes over there after I fought them all. You know what I mean? Because that's how I was raised. That's why I said I'm totally not. I'm against sticking up for yourself. And like he said, we was raised, look, just because I punch you in your face don't mean that we can't be cool. That's how I got cool with some of my friends, is that we mixed it up and win, lose, or draw. That's what we got to teach our kids too. Win, lose, or draw, you get your respect.
Hold on, let me tell a story. Just so y'all realize that we not playing about, like, you fight somebody, that don't mean nothing. Ryan was about to go to college, right? You understand what I'm saying? I don't know what was going through him. Yeah, I mean, he might have, like, we was tough, so we ain't show our emotions. But this happened before, but it never happened. He was going to college. So he come in my room. I was sad my brother gone. You know what I mean? But it was cool. I'm sad, so I'm just in my room chilling. He come in my room like, yo, I'm going to take that lamp right there to go taking it to school with me. So I'm like, man, you ain't taking my lamp. So I snatched the lamp. He started winging on me. yo, started winging on me. Like, and yo, he's like, you know how, like, he getting medieval, like, fucking lamp. And I'm like, yo, shit, this nigga fucking me up. Like, he's fucking me up. After that, you understand what I'm saying? He left, whatever. Literally, like, the next day, we good. Yo, bro, here, you could take the lamp. I ain't let go of that lamp when he was fucking me up, just to let y'all know. I got fucked up, but I ain't let go of the lamp. Fuck you.
You know, it's two sides of every story, and you know how hard-headed he is. That's his part of the story. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we was...
What's your part?
We was emotional, you know what I'm saying? We real close, you know what I'm saying? And I was leaving. He was, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to school, and it was like, I forget about the lamp, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was like I wanted to take it to school or whatever, and he, you know, he bucks up, you know what I'm saying? He bucked up on me, and it was just some brotherly type thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't no...
When you was going to school, I believe we were sophomores, right? We were sophomores in high school?
We was about to be freshmen.
We was about to be freshmen?
Mm-hmm.
That was a bad time for us. Like, that was like a dark moment. And when I got around them, it was like dark. Yeah, they was fighting everybody.
We got some real, that's what I'm saying. We got some real, like, messed up situations that happened with us growing up that we want to try to make sure that we can give back so it doesn't happen. You know, we've tried to give it to the people that were close to us, but maybe we just need to give it as an overall broad view, because sometimes, like we spoke about on our first episode, people that are close to you, they can't take your perspective because there's no distance. Right. You're too close, so they look at it like, well, that's how y'all got your respect, and that's how y'all used to turn up, yada, yada, So they can't get it. But maybe there's somebody out there that can listen to this podcast and get what we trying to say, or maybe they need to hear us say it on this podcast to where we can pass it on to the younger generation. And that's basically it. So the story was...
back to your story.
The story was, I grew up in another area, had to go to that elementary school, so I got loyalty to this area. You know what I'm saying? So, but there's still people that's from my area that go to different. They split up my part of Willenboro. So some of us had to go to this elementary school, some of us had to go to this elementary school, some of us had to go like 3 different elementary schools. So we all growing up having loyalty to 3 different areas, but we from this area. So what happened was 2 of my friends that was coming from that area was walking to my crib. My crib was to hang out. We was, you know what I'm saying, always having fun, always slap boxing, playing, whatever. We played sports together. So I don't know if they was walking to come to practice or something, but they jumped one of the kids from my area and took his weed. Don't tell me nothing about this, because I was cool with the kid, so I would have been mad at them from the rear. I probably would have gave the kid back his weed if I could have caught it right away. You see what I'm saying? So next thing I know, we fighting these dudes because they got loyalty to this dude. And he from my area. So long story short, when I started to find out what was going on, because I'm cool with everybody, I'm talking to people, asking like, yo, what happened? They won't tell me that they jumped this dude and took their weed. They tell me it's about something else because they know I'm going black on them. So the story comes out that that's basically how it all happened. Plus, we kind of already had that little animosity, like, oh, we thorough, y'all thorough. We gonna have to see who the thorough is. You see what I'm saying? So, but that didn't have to go as far. But now there's a reason why we fighting. But then when I found out the reason, I tried to diffuse it as much as I could, and I took a step back and was like, look, I'm gonna play it neutral. Now, if I'm around and something pop off, no, I'm not gonna let nothing crazy happen. But I'm not going on the front line of this because, for one, it was stupid that it happened. It was a dumb reason to be fighting over, and I don't agree with it. You see what I'm saying? So my loyalty was still with my people, but it also was trying to, I feel like, make a pivotal stance to where it's like, it's not that serious. We don't need to be fighting over something so stupid. And then through the years, we done had so many other incidents to where I've been literally fighting almost my whole life over stupid stuff. So that's why it's like I have to address this and make this a topic, because people, our culture goes too far. We go too far. We go to guns and knives, and somebody has to make a stance to make it to where it's not cool. Like he said, you don't never talk to nobody who's locked up and say, yeah, man, it was worth it. No, they're going to say, man, I wish that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. So one quick thing, because I just wanted to finish a couple stories on the guys that I was fighting. And this is what I had to realize my mindset. I don't believe I ever hated or disliked any of them. All right. Now I'm gonna tell you one reason why. We prided ourselves. They tried to put principles in me like, yo, we are not haters. We do not hate on people, and we don't respect hate. I don't believe that he can hate on me and stop anything I got going on if I'm putting myself, if I'm thorough enough and I got my path like right. Your hate won't work on me. So hate, everybody, people hating. So what? If you doing what you doing and you driven about that shit, that hate don't work. So, and we not haters. So I'm like, every time, like, I'm not gonna say I've never hated, but when I catch myself, I pull it back. Like, oh no, we not doing that. So even when we was rumbling these dudes, I wasn't hating them. Like I said, we knew all of they girls just because we live in a small town. So like, they might have a girl, but her friend, I'm messing with her. So like, you understand what I'm saying? My girl might be around them one day, and then they come back over here, and now they all around us. So basically, like, we literally know each other, bro. Like, to me, I feel like it was the dumbest shit in the world. Like, we literally should have just been friends. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to be honest, we should have just been friends. Whoever had a problem should have shot a fair one, and then we should have chilled. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? But so the girls used to come. So one of the dudes my man's messed it with, like the one girl's sister. So the one girl was a virgin, but was going with one of them over there. But she was a virgin, so she used to come back to us and tell stories, and we was about, we was about getting girls. So she was dealing with this dude for like a year and still wasn't giving him no yams. And we asking her questions like, yo, what's wrong with you? Like, the boy seems like a good dude, a good boyfriend to you. We see him, he do everything. He faithful, loyal. And like, I don't understand why you keep on reserving yourself. And because that's what we used to do. I had an issue. We used to try to defeat women. To be honest, like, that was an issue. But that's another joint. You feel me? So what we did, we had a conversation with him. We were like, listen, if that man is loyal, we basically broke it all down and had her start second guessing why she was keeping herself from him. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end, we talked for mad long. She left. The next day, she gave the man the yams. Came back. So, like, you could say, well, was that you? Then she came back. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't come back the next day. She came back, like, the next weekend and was like, yo, I did it. And told us. So then I really felt like I was responsible for it. Like, I never got to tell that story. I got that man some Yolas, and we was rumbling him. I got him some yams, and so like it just showed me that like, yo, I don't hate or dislike none of them. I just was trying to be loyal to my friends, and I was really trying to impose my dominance, because that's one issue. Ryan had been around me a long time. That's one issue I always had. I didn't like when people question or try to doubt what I'm capable of. I can fight. That's just the reality. I don't want to shoot anybody. I don't want to stay. As soon as you take it to that, I walk the fuck off. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you take it to anything else other than fighting, I walk off. If it's 2, 3 of y'all, I could fight two, three.
Or beat the shit out if you get to your trunk.
Yeah, I don't mind fighting anybody. I don't mind losing a fight. I don't mind none of that. But I don't take it to that next level is not worth it to me. You understand what I'm saying? So that's where I draw my line. I know to where my tough guy shit completely stops. Like, I am a fighter, my nigga. Like I should have just boxed.
Yeah.
Like, word up. Remember, like, we was boxing, but
boxing.
we was boxing, but I took football more serious, so I couldn't do football and boxing. But we should have just boxed because that's what I actually love to do. But so like I just go to show that I didn't like them. So I got 2 more quick stories. One day I drive trucks. I'm driving in the truck. I'm doing deliveries. So somebody ride by me. So he circles back around and is beeping the horn. Me, beep, beep, beep. So I'm looking like, who the fuck? Like, so then he pulls in front of me. And this is as an adult now. He pulls in front of me and stops the joint and get out. It's one of the dudes we used to rumble. But so like at first I'm looking like, yo, like I'm like my natural, I'm like, oh, like what this, and I'm at work, so I'm not trying to fight this man when I'm at work. So I'm just looking like, yo, what's this dude doing? But he had the biggest smile on his face ever. Like, yo, what's up? Because I ain't seen him since high school. You know what I'm saying? Yo, what's up? Yo, as soon as I seen his smile, that shit radiated to where like now I start smiling. I'm like, yo, what's up? I was genuinely happy to see him. And all we used to do was fight each other. But I learned more about them guys fighting them than I know some of my friends. You understand what I'm saying? So like it goes to show, just because we out here rumbling, that doesn't really mean we enemies, bro. We kind of really just like sharpen. We helping each other figure out ourselves. And we got to be able to communicate, because I feel like it's so much that if I was just willing to talk, I ain't have to, and even after we fought, say if we get into a fight right now, then after that, if we talk, we might be all right, bro. It's not that big of a deal that we rumble. And last one, I fought somebody for our older brother because he did something wrong. Now, I completely agree with the reason I fought him. It was deserving. But I liked him, bro. Yeah. I looked up to this dude my whole life.
Grew up in our house.
He grew up in our house. He was a I played linebacker. He was a linebacker. Like, I went to all his games to watch him. My brother didn't play football. You understand what I'm saying? I went to his games to watch him play, but he did something and violated that. I fought him. You understand what I'm saying? And I, in the moment, I felt good about it because I felt like I was getting some type of like revenge for what he did. But later on, every time I saw him, I would feel emotionally upset. And then one time I saw him in the supermarket, bro, and something just came over me. And I just wanted to go up to him and apologize to him. But like my ego would not allow me to do it. And I was so upset with myself. And I just went back into the car and I just sat there and I was just upset because like I literally know him, but we had got into a situation. But just because, and what I even want to get better at is even just because we was in a situation, that doesn't end it forever, bro. I got so many people that I fought. One of the main people that I fought throughout high school, I've never had a problem with him. I've never disliked him in my life. But it just seemed like we would always match up. Just out of nowhere. Never had a problem with him. So like now, I just feel like as men, as grown men, and we gotta like let people know that you gotta communicate. Because if I never communicated with that man at that situation, we never know how it would have escalated. You understand what I'm saying? So we can't be afraid to communicate because we feel like our pride or our ego is gonna make us feel a certain type of way. Like I said, time is way more valuable than any pride, any ego. It's way more important because I know too many people that lose time that are sick, yo. You understand what I'm saying? You lose time away from your family. Your pride amongst your friends is not more valuable than your time and like to your family. Pride. Exactly.
I don't necessarily think that division is wrong. Like to be divided in a sense you know, people are going to have different opinions on certain things, certain topics, certain things about life, certain ways that people live life, you know. So I don't necessarily think the division is wrong because, you know, people that, you know, that are very similar, they kind of tend to attract each other, you know. So the division is not the problem for me. For me, the problem is, like you said, the guns, the violence, you know, the fighting, you know, a lot of things can be overlooked and be talked about without having to go to the violence, you know. And to go back on that story about, you know, about your brother friend, you know, I see that guy and I told you this. You know what I mean? I actually like him a lot. But before that happened, I used to see him all the time at the Knights of Columbus. I used to see him all the time. And I was cool with him. Like, we used to talk. I used to bust it up with him, buy him a drink, he buy me a drink, and we talk. That happened. Ever since then, when I see him, I can't even say hi to him. I don't say nothing to him. And that was going back to the loyalty thing. That's my loyalty to Jonathan over here and Rue and your family, that I can't, you know, see myself being cool with that guy just because of that situation. And that had nothing to do with me.
Okay, I want to take it in another direction. This goes back to give a little history lesson. We did have unity in our community, back with the Black Panther movement, Martin Luther King, this, that, and the third. When I feel like, this is my personal opinion, this is not a fact, but I feel like when things became divisive and more serious was when it turned over into the gang type behavior. When it went from Black Panthers to Bloods and Crips and different types of gangs and all the different vice, all the different breakdowns that was spawned from our movement getting broke apart and ripped apart through, you know, the government and different things that everybody knows about. When that got ripped apart, it was like every man's for theyself. See what I'm saying? So when you introduce guns, drugs, different things into a neighborhood, now greed comes in. Greed don't have no color. Greed don't have no loyalty. Greed is, I got to do me so that I can get ahead, so I can, you know what I'm saying, do my 1, 2, boom, 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 boom. And then people start to use each other for that benefit. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like that's when things became violent and to the where it was cutthroat type of nature. And it's not a black or white thing. Like, you know, the white culture had their bang, bang, shoot 'em up, wild, wild west phase. And I learned this, like, man, you was talking about that. I was talking to an older white guy at my job, and he was like, and we was just talking. He was just talking to me about, and I was telling him stories of how I grew up, and he was from over in Philly, and we was just telling stories, and he was just like, well, I mean, our culture had our gangster phase. And I sat and I thought about it, and I looked back on their history. They had their gangster phase. They had their Wild Wild West. They had their Al Capone, John Gotti phase where they was shooting stuff up. You see what I'm saying? But the only difference is that our I don't want to say government, but our society let them transition smoothly into concrete businesses, casino, sand and gravel, construction. You know, some of them went to jail, but it's more so of a love fantasy with that whole gangster thing. A lot of us, I grew up with Scarface pictures on the wall, Gotti, all the, you know, good, you know, Godfather and this, that, and the third. So what we have to do as a culture is take that love fantasy that we have with gangsters and all of our history that we have and start transitioning into positive and transitioning into growth. You see what I'm saying? We have to start transitioning, and it starts with us. Obviously, it's our generation that's going to have to start to do it, because our parents' generation, they had to work and they had to provide. We have the freedom with technology and everything that we have right now. Forget who's president. That don't matter. You see what I'm saying? If you're going to work hard and do you, none of that matters. You see what I'm saying? But when you break the law and you do different things, you putting your freedom in the hands of a government that you know doesn't have your best interest in mind. That's why it's not smart. And I had to learn that the hard way. And I'm not passing judgment on nobody that's in the lifestyle. I got a lot of love for the lifestyle. But the people that can make a difference need to make that transition so that we could stop the unnecessary nonsense and hate towards each other, to where you can't even go out to a certain club or a certain bar without something stupid happening, to where it's going to escalate.
Well, I think it goes back to what we talked about a few weeks ago, as far as, you know, it's sort of like our job to really give these people the information. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, John Gotti and the people that transition to other things versus the violence, because they're being taught you know, how to do things differently. And our
Right.
community for the most part is not sharing that knowledge, right? So it's like we really can't, you know what I mean, we can't expect, you know what I mean, for a person to high jump and they never been taught to high jump or shoot a basketball when they've never picked up a basketball a day in their life. You
Yeah,
know what I
I
mean? So
understand.
at the end of the day, it's like John Gotti or, you know what I mean, in that culture, you know, they're being taught by people that, you know, were not in that lifestyle but still cool with the lifestyle.
All right, now I got something for that. Sometimes we might not have a teacher, but what we do have is history. All right. So like you said, Irish had their gang, their gang actually culture, and then they transitioned into certain things.
Yeah.
A lot of that was either if it's fire departments. I don't know if you ever been in certain fire departments.
Yeah.
It feels like a gang.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Yeah.
We was down in Wildwood one time. It was a guys next door to us. They had a bachelor party. They went to this bar, and it was the firefighters weekend. They went to a bar, and I don't know what they said, but each one of them came back in the cab individually, completely bloody faced it. So I asked him, I was like, yo, what happened? He was like, yo, man, these firefighters, man. He said we just went in there and they just trashed us. They trashed because they actually have the culture and the way they operate is not different. They just actually started to move, like you said, to things that were legal. All right. Now, one thing that I'm gonna say, so now you saying we don't know it, we don't like learn it. What we got to do, especially the guys that are in position, you got to actually like you said, we all like John Gotti. It's rappers that talk about all of these mobsters, mafia, this, that, and the third.
Yeah, Chapo.
So don't only actually gravitate to what they did to get the money. Now actually start researching what they did to now end up turning it into positive money and legal money. And now none of them dudes do that crime no more. They actually there was a time to where the mafia was telling people don't touch drugs because they trying to transition. And then that goes into a whole nother thing. So like that we gotta research just like we research what they do to get all their money and they doing this. Research what they did to transition. Because one time, I drive trucks for a living. I deliver everywhere. So I'm delivering to Philly one time, like you said, to a concrete place. So I go in there, dude's like, come on in. You know what I mean? Just smooth little dude. He's mad little white guy, smooth, come on in. And then I'm like, yo, y'all got a bathroom in here? He had somebody in there. He said, Joey, show him to the bathroom. I look back like, who this motherfucker? Because I'm thinking what's it called? Bronx Tale. I'm like, yo, I'm looking like, yo, they about to kill me in here. Joey, show him to the bathroom. Like those guys, they transition into doing legal things. They don't have to do that stuff no more. But we can look at their history and start our transition because everybody had a phase and everybody had a transition. All we got to do is start our transition. Now, rap and all of that is part of the transition, but it also slows it too because it perpetuates the same thing. Right. So it doesn't really move us out. It perpetuates. Now everybody. Matter of fact, I want to say this one thing, and then we got to go back to the topic. But I heard one rapper say. They was talking about Jay-Z, John. We spoke about this. They was like, yo, Jay-Z music, the music he making now. He was like, yo, like this goes over all the like majority of society heads. Like we don't want to hear all of that positive stuff. But I started thinking, all these niggas that talk about guns. Listen, I live in a society to where like maybe 5% of the society is shooters. Everybody ain't fucking shooting no gun, yo. Everybody ain't killing people. So, they talking about killing and all that. That doesn't necessarily touch majority of society. So why is the negative allowed to be perpetuated, but the positive can't be? Just because I don't understand $1 million paintings and $9 million paintings, I don't understand shooting and killing nobody.
Right.
So why can't I listen to you understand what I'm saying?
Same thing. Ain't nobody, not too many people have held an AR or AK. A lot of y'all don't even know how to work them. Y'all don't even know that Mac 10s and Mac 11s
you gotta
jam.
clean them
You don't even
joints,
know how to clean them. But that you went right into the topic that I was saying. All right, so this is my question. How do we address, or how should we tell the next culture, the next not next culture, but the next generation that's coming up, how to address people that aren't staying in their lane? Because this goes back to that divisive nature. Because one of the things that would irk me growing up, and I'm not a bully. Me and Kay was talking about this. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not a bully. I'll fight, but I love everybody, and I try to see the best in everybody, even as a kid growing up. But what always will irk me, will make me want to have to check somebody, is somebody who's not staying in their lane. How do we what's the right way? And I know the answer to this, but I'm putting it out there to see what y'all answer is. I thought about it. How do we tell the next generation to address those people who aren't shooters, who act like they shooters, who that's not built like that, who want to be built like that, who that shouldn't be in the lifestyle? And because I went through a whole phase with with my team to where like we was going around robbing people just because they ain't have no business being in that lifestyle to where like, and that's that whole society, how, rap, big fish eat little fish, you don't belong. We coming to get that. And a lot of bad things happen from that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of bad things could have went a lot more wrong. And I have friends who's passed away behind that, it's a bad path to go down. But I was naive and I didn't know. And it just frustrated me. And that's what, like we said, what should we tell the generation to do when somebody's not staying in their lane? And how do you go about that in a positive way to let them know, look, this ain't for you?
I think that for us three, we have a lot of younger people in this generation that look up to us, right? So I think it's more or less showing them versus having a conversation all the time and trying to preach to them, right? So it's like, they know when we was coaching the football team, right? So all we used to get stories about this one kid, right? He's not from Willingboro. He used to come from another town to come play with us. And all we used to hear is that, oh, he's stealing cars, he's fighting, he's in a gang, he's doing all this, right? So when he came to us, they like, you don't want this kid. You don't want him. He's bad. You don't want him. So we said, bring him here. We do want him because we want the trouble kids. Right. That's what we want.
Right.
So he played for us, right? He was getting locked up and everything before he got to us. He didn't get in trouble, suspended from school. Grades was better throughout the whole year because he was playing with us. Yeah. And he used to, we were his role models because he knew that we wasn't pussy, right? He knew this. He's heard stories about when we were younger. He knew that we wasn't soft, but he's seen that we acted in a way to get respect, but stay positive in the same sentence, right? So we're demanding respect, like you said. Fighting is how you used to get the respect, right? I punch you in the face. I don't dislike you, but I want you to respect me. Now that we're older, we kind of transition to. We're being positive, we're acting mature and adults, but we're still demanding the respect and standing in a positive
Yeah, I'll
lane.
still punch you in the face. I'm just not going to kill you.
I mean, I still love you, though. You know what I mean?
But no, what he said, too, that I think that is important is especially young boys, they can sense real. Like they have a sixth sense where they can see if you're genuine and you're real.
And that's just like working at the group homes and all that.
But that's what it is too. What he's basically trying to say is we have relatability to where some of those kids will look at us and say, I believe him, so I will trust him a little bit more than I would trust somebody else. But you asked the question that I wanted to speak on. You said, how do we, if somebody's not in that lifestyle, it's a whole lot, but one thing is communicate. Most of the time we don't even tell them. Most of the time we don't even tell them. We just looking at them like, what are you doing, bro? I mean, most of the time we don't even communicate and have a real conversation, explain why, and that's all you can do. And you can't necessarily force anybody to change, but you can give them insight, and then you can have that thought, actually be on their mind, and so they can actually further that and see if that's really what they want to do. And number two, say if the kid is young enough, like you said, you got to show. I worked at a group home, had all of these kids from up north, most of them from up north. So all they ever really been introduced with how to get money is hustling. So what I used to do with them, I used to take one kid at a time. I would take them, I have 2 rental properties, and I work. So I would take them with me to collect the rent money, all right? And then I would cash my check, all right? And then have them count the money, and then put the money in the bank. So then they would be confused. They would be looking at me because they always be like, yo, you got to do something. And I'm, no, listen, let's go. Come with me. Now we go ahead and collect the rent money. So he's like, yo, you just made all of this money in just a day. So that's one thing that I feel like with younger people that we gotta make it like almost a math problem. We gotta teach them street math. You know what I mean? Because look, I used to talk to him about it all the day. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say this. He used to hustle a little bit back in the day. I never hustled. So we used to compare money we make. I work. And like after we would break it down, he wasn't necessarily making more money than me. Now, it was getting taxed, and he was getting his money on a consistent basis every day, and he basically could sit back. But we was making the same amount of money, because I was working. So what you actually got to show the young boys is like, yo, there's other alternatives to making money that you just have to learn them. Just like you can learn to hustle, bag up, cook up, you can learn how to do something else to make money. You understand what I'm saying? And that's one thing that we got to start doing as we get older. Just like you. The hustler will take a young boy under their wing and teach him all of this. We got to, if we doing something positive, take young boys under our wing. Let me show you how to do this. And listen, seriously, one kid I took, he was like, yo, this can't be all your money. And I'm like, yo, bro, like you just saw me. I let you count it. He was like, yo, what did you do? What did you do? So I explained to him everything I did. He was like, yo, can you show me how to do that? He was like, he wanted to do everything I do because it made more sense to him mathematically. And then what I also helped him see, like, listen, with what I do, there's no risk of loss. In the streets, we already know. I was just
about to say that.
In the streets, there's a risk of loss. You can lose your money, you could get robbed, whatever, and you can lose your time. I want to do one little math problem real quick, you know what I mean? Because I used to do this all of the time, yo. Say, because let's do robbery. You know what I mean? Because I got one little kid that I know that got locked up for robbery. Say if you rob a gas station, this is not a number, but say if you get $10,000, you're not going to get $10,000 from a gas station. Say if you do, all right? Armed robbery, you're getting 10 years if you get caught, all right? Now, the reward is $10,000, but the risk is a loss of 10 years. $10,000 over 10-year span is
that's $1,000 a year.
That's
what you would make.
That's $1,000 a year. You can collect change out of your father couch and get that money. You can go cut grass and get a ridiculous amount of money. So I just feel like a lot of these crimes that these young boys is committing,
you could be on welfare and get more money.
A lot of these crimes these young boys is committing is because they don't understand street math. You got to do that math. You got to weigh out your options. You got to see, like, all right, what can you get? Matter of fact, there's one time.
Add the 10 years up if you would have just worked a regular 9-to-5 job. Because you said you're losing 8 to 10 years for strong arm robbery. Now,
you work at McDonald's. If you work at McDonald's, you're making $1,000 every, what was that, a month? A month?
Right. It's 52. Well, no, it's 12 months. So that's but you're gonna make more than that though. You know what I'm
make
saying?
like say if the worst 52
job, weeks.
Say if the worst job you making like $19,000 a year. $19,000 over 10 years, $190,000.
So do the math. That's why I wanted
you asked me to do something. I could have got $190,000. You asked me to do something $10,000. I'll punch you in the face. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Right now, I'll punch you in the face. What do you mean? That don't even make mathematical sense to do some goofy ass shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? But hold up, and this is another point to that, right? All right, so that's the actual math of it. All right. So what we can't do with the young boys, right, is we got to, matter of fact, what we have to teach them to understand the math, all right, and how it breaks down. You understand what I'm saying? And then the consequences and everything of that, and then we can't allow them to keep on thinking in a way to where it's only about tomorrow. Like you can't
living
get
in
caught.
The moment.
Exactly. It's only about tomorrow and you can't get caught. You have to have foresight in the streets. And it goes back to having foresight when you hustling, you got all this money. If you ain't got an exit plan, you ain't got no foresight, you about to crash and burn, bro. Mm-hmm. You about to crash and burn. So you got to have foresight in everything you're doing. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to the original point because you said something. And the vision, you know what I mean? With the divisive nature that we have, I want to also start bringing up to where we can't focus on what separates us first. Yeah. Focus on our similarities first. What's the say?
We was just saying, identify and don't compare. Because when you identify with somebody, you look at the similarities. When you compare, you look at the differences. And that's what our culture has to stop doing with each other.
It's not a bad thing to understand our differences. All right, but don't focus on the difference because if we really sit everybody that I've ever had a problem with, if I sit them in front of me, we are way more alike and we have more similarities than we do have differences. That is just a fact. I can't put it any other type of way. That's a fact. So that's what we got to start.
Yo, I've gotten cool with some of the people I used to fight with in beef, and actually got to know him and was like, yo, I fuck with this dude. Like, I mess with this dude hard. Like, we would have been fly. You see what I'm saying? But because of our divisiveness and our area or this, that, and the third, we couldn't allow it. You know what I mean? But after I got older and I started to get cool with people, I'm like, yo, that's my dude. You know what I'm saying? Now I got loyalty to him.
But
You
that's
see
what
I'm
it
saying?
goes back to what I said. We got to be the teachers now, right? So it's like if you don't have a teacher, right, to learn those values and those principles that you should stand on, we got to do that. And that's why we have this show.
Yeah. Yo, guys, thanks for watching No Perspective. This is a show that's from the people, for the people. And guys, everything we say, we just telling our story so you could get some type of knowledge and information. And please learn through us. We went through what we went through. We walked through the fire and did everything. So you don't have to take any of this information. And any of them dudes that we used to rumble that I fought, I like y'all niggas, man. Straight like that. Y'all niggas is all cool with me. I'm sorry that if you whatever y'all did. And then the one boy, I'm telling you, you ain't know you hurt me, but you hit me in the nose. And every time I sneezed after that for 2 weeks, my shit was rocking, okay? You know what I mean? But yo, thanks for watching, guys. We love everybody. Keep watching.
Yeah, No Perspective. Thanks for watching No Perspective. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Follow us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat.